Heyo, Zahn is on, and here to watch Bloodborne review Defeat Gods Doll Waifu Simulator by Max0r. So, we're going to look at Max0r now, and we're going to see his review of Bloodborne. So, for reference, I never actually beat Bloodborne, but I have played it a little bit. I'd at least played enough to understand kind of the appeal of the game. Regardless, I'm curious to see what Max0r has to say about this. So, without further ado, let's get to it.
The video has spoilers. Bloodborne is a Lovecraftian horror RPG that no one understands by definition, where the player is free to attack hordes of human children at will and consume their innards. If that in-depth and engaging anti-baby gameplay appears,
that pretty much sums up how I understood the game.
RPG that no one understands by definition, where the player is free to attack hordes of human children at will and consume their innards. If that in-depth and engaging anti-baby gameplay appeals to you,
anti-baby,
it gets worse. In this game, you play as John Bloodborne,
Lord have mercy, this is so fast-paced. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it, but I'm gonna try.
To you, keep listening because it gets worse. In this game, you play as John Bloodborne, a foreigner incapable of speech without the use of sign language, and stricken with Habsburg disease, comes to the ancient city of London
inbreeding,
seeking treatment for the sins of his cousins. In doing so, he will begin hallucinating talking dolls, spider people, and the great. Journeying further, John Bloodborne becomes conscripted into the service of a gay elder god in the
oh boy, my favorite gay elder gods. Oh lord, we're off to a wonderful start.
Journeying further, John Bloodborne becomes conscripted into the service of a gay elder god and the 60-year-old man he keeps as a pet, and is given the ultimate task of killing an invisible infant in order to cure his anemia. To accomplish said Herculean task, the player must journey through dark forests, terrifying nightmares, and the meth-ridden alleyway.
Oh, I think I just saw. Did I just see a? Yep, that's exactly what I saw. Some creature getting absolutely violated.
And the meth-ridden alleyways of a post-Brexit Britain, slaying monsters, exploring,
I see.
And tricking women into being impregnated by gods so you can consume the child. This game is an excellent realization of a Metroidvania with something new around every corner. A great action RPG which pits you against insurmountable odds and extreme challenges, and has a gripping story and lore about discovering the eldritch truth. So if you can,
I'm
play
sure.
yourself, because I'm not going to hold back on the details. It's no secret that
unfortunately, I think I'm way past the point of being able to play this game anymore. Like, even setting aside my burnout, I just don't think I have the means to play that game anymore.
My reviews are entertainment first, so I don't suggest using me as genuine advice.
Ugh.
However, most people can't play this game, ever, because you have to buy a $400 magical box sold by the wizard Sony in order to experience it, and even then you
Yep, and I still only experienced so much of it.
Get to see it in an amazing 30 frames per second with no anti-aliasing. Port this game to PC, I beg of you.
Like, judging from Fleekazoid's video, that's a no. In fact, you're not even fortunate enough to even get 60 frames.
In fact, I can assume that a lot of people watching this video will basically never play the game, but keep watching.
You're right.
Because I'm hilarious and original. Do that, and I can give you the full, unfiltered, uncensored, unsubstantiated, and unsportsmanlike experience that is Bloodborne. The gameplay is what makes this game great, and the easiest way to describe it is simple but complicated. On a simple level, your baby brain is responsible for only two tasks: dodging and hitting, and
that sounds about right. And absolutely my style. I don't need to block. I mean, blocking's nice. All I gotta do is just dodge and weave and perform hit and run tactics.
Dodging in this game renders you temporarily invincible. Sounds easy, right? Wrong, because every single enemy is adjusted to keep pace with you. Basic enemies are basically able to whoop your ass into fucking non-existence. Every encounter, therefore, is tense and engaging. When you kill someone, it's because you were faster and had more meth than they did. On a complicated level, you have a gun, and normally bullets hurt people, but in London, bullets are a suggestion, like the
well, I mean, it is London, so I guess that's fair.
Geneva Convention. Here in England, it's all about the knife bins. Except when you shoot somebody mid-attack, you gain the mystical and arcane ability to plunge your fist through their ribcage like—
I actually don't even remember the mechanics of the game. Like, that's how long it's been since I played.
Mortal Kombat and rip out their heart, which is considered rude and a slight annoyance. This extends to
Slight
behind them if you
annoyance.
charge an attack, which sometimes causes you to reach up a pig's asshole and rip out the prostate like fruit.
Okay, so it was a pig. I didn't want to assume.
To reach up by the foot. Side note, the most optimal farming route for currency in this game is called Murgo's Pig Fisting Route. See, I changed the webpage. And in this route, you sneak up behind this guy and do him the dirty. Then entice these two swangular bastards to be mauled by members.
Oh my god. It's like their face is just full of eyeballs.
Of Organization 13. Repeat 50 times. On a complicateder level, every single weapon in the game has 2 different modes with 2 different movesets. And transforming between
Ooh, that scythe looks kind of dope though.
them gives you special attacks in addition to running attacks, plunging attacks, on a theoretical physicist level. Your character memorizes squiggly lines and fridge art created by gods for passive bonuses that work regardless of weaponry. My favorites are more money, and more money they stack.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds like something that I would do.
Finally, on a meta-theoretical chiropractic level, every weapon is customizable with different gem slots that give differing effects for your attacks. And there are different types that can literally change all of the stats of the weapon, like making a fucking spear do more damage based off of intelligence. There's definitely more and more strategy in how you level up your character, but I assume that you know how to level up in a fucking video game. But with all this
I mean, to be fair, some video games make it very hard to do that.
prowess, you may be wondering, Max0r, who are these crusty abominations that you're fighting on screen? Well, to learn that much, we're going to have to delve into the lore. So,
oh, I love lore!
Buckle your britches, bitches, because this shit is wild. If I say something questionable, it's a fact. I can be trusted. 60 years ago, 20 rowdy college students took their education extremely seriously because they found woman Cthulhu. She was just in a portable toilet downstairs. Also, because they were bored, they beat to death a god of the sea with some bats, but that's a story for later.
Oh, that's just because they were bored? I mean, they are college students, so I guess there's not much else to do.
It turns out the entire world is ruled and created by a race of elder gods beyond human comprehension called the Great Ones. Figuring this out, they got Cthulhu's blood and were like, we can make a religion out of this. Because it turns out blood can heal people, which is really good due to all the knife crime.
Nice.
So everyone starts drinking it a little too much and they get the money to build 36 cathedrals, but it turns out eventually the blood turns you into a werewolf. So the church hires a guy.
Oh boy, that sounds like something that Bao would be into.
Named German to go fight the beasts with an organization known as the Hunters, but there's too many beasts, so he gives up. Now the knife crime is increased even more, and German sort of goes insane and creates a life-size doll of one of his students who is an 8-foot-tall Amazonian. He also canonically has sex with it. The moon god for some—
Wait, what? I mean, it's a doll, but still. And it was based on one of his students?
Creates a life-size doll of one of his students who is an 8-foot-tall Amazonian.
I mean, I do like my tall women. I'll give you that, at least.
He also canonically has sex with it. The moon god, for some reason, kind of takes notice of this and is like, alright, listen, I'm building a suicide squad. I will bring your waifu to Waifu if you serve me for all time as my slave. German reasonably thinks that this is a great deal and is imprisoned in a dream. This is where you come in. See, the moon god assassinates baby gods for fun, but needs a hitman to go into the real world to do it since he's confined to the 9th dimension. So in addition to fighting all manner of giant beasts and uncovering dark secrets, the true aim of this game is to commit infanticide. There's enough bullshit here to fill tax legislation, so comment your own poorly summarized Bloodborne lore below. And for the rest of us non-chills, we have ample time to explain more of what makes this game great.
Prepare to die.
I am talking about bosses before I talk about the levels. In most video games, bosses cap off areas, but in Bloodborne, areas are preambles to a dick flattening, and nothing will challenge your skill in quite the same way. Except for the goddamn Witches of Hemwick, who were placed into the game for disability access. You can
I can make this joke since I'm disabled, right? Bruh.
Probably tell that Bloodborne is a hard game. We don't even know if a games journalist can beat it, but it's hard in a fair—
I mean, I'd say that's a good sign.
way that tests your skills and reaction time, except for Lawrence, but I'll get back to Lawrence later. What sets this game's bosses apart is that the challenge makes it feel like you're a really small dude jabbing a toothpick into a building-sized deer demon. So yeah, I would—
Oh, VTubers. We've seen plenty of them already, but oh boy. Haruka!
Makes it feel like you're a really small dude jabbing a toothpick into a building-sized deer demon. So yeah, I would be impressed if he killed that. But not only that, unlike Dark Souls, every single boss reacts meaningfully to how you attack them. Large beasts can have their bones cracked and their tendons wound into a slinky. Bone boys can be knocked over and have their marrow shipped. And human enemies will wince and recoil when they see your height difference. As
that's me in real life.
well, every boss boss punishes you for cowardice and actively discourages backpedaling with their forward momentum, causing every fight to be an elaborate dance with a thrilling back and forth. Unless you're fighting Rom, who is the really hungry caterpillar if he had a legion of arachnid slaves who threw their heads underground like ostriches. We don't talk about him. And while we're on the subject of bad
Why not?
bosses, this motherfucker, let me tell you something. The humanoid bosses in this game are paradoxically the most dangerous. But Mikola,
I mean, I think that makes sense. Amidst all the horrors, the worst kind of horror is the one that is shaped after you. A human.
is a psychological hazard that will hurt you personally. This boss literally feels like cut content because the fight centers around chasing him, and his direction depends on RNG, making him an actual speedrun killer. When you corner him, he uses one attack, and then you chase him again, where he gains the power to insta-kill you. God forbid you're hit by it, because that's 10 minutes gone. Here's a tip. Save up 10 poison knives and steal from your family if you must. Then wait until he jumps down this hole, poison him repeatedly, and watch him spaz the fuck out until...
It's kind of like what I did back in the first Dark Souls, where all I grabbed was just a bow and a whole bunch of arrows, went under a bridge and started shooting a dragon's wing until it died.
Death, you will thank me. But as a result of everyone who isn't Miko shit, conquering a boss in this game is absolutely rewarding on a level that other games cannot match. It's only because the odds are stacked against you in ways that don't feel bullshit most of the time that conquering them is the main reason I play, and their fights are undoubtedly the best I've ever done in video games. But that isn't...
I'm sorry. Like, I'm trying to pay attention, but I feel like I just couldn't help but hyper focus on the Garfield game. Yeah, Garfield cart. I wanted to move past it without acknowledging it, but I couldn't. It was just living in my mind, and I had to go back to confirm.
Cannot match. It's only because the odds are stacked against you in ways that don't feel bullshit most of the time that conquering them is the main reason I play, and their fights are undoubtedly the best I've ever done in video games. But that isn't most of the time in the game. In fact, a lot of your time is spent exploring the areas, so let's get into that. Lesson 1 in area design.
Okay.
Where the fuck am I going? Exploration.
Oh, amazing.
Is the name of the game, except it's called Bloodborne. Only this time, you don't bring smallpox and kill 20 million people. We're looking at a solid 10 this time, because the main enemies in this game are British townspeople. It's how the developers made sure you didn't feel bad about killing them. The plague of beasts and...
It's like saying like, oh, you're British? I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you recover from your affliction.
Infecting London causes people's teeth to become beast-like, makes you aggressive at night, and slurs your speech.
Bro!
So it's up to you to stop them, as a hunter should. If you don't look up where to go next in this game, good fucking luck. People get lost all the time. Get used to it. This game doesn't do...
I had to sneak in that lost.
People get lost all the time. Get used to it. This game doesn't do exploration like, oh, look, there's loot in this hallway. My dopamine's gonna go crazy. That's baby shit. This is daddy's exploration, where you find a route back to a place you were in 10 hours ago. And I hope you weren't expecting a mini-map, or any map. Every single hallway is a rabbit hole of discovery, and your hand isn't held. Case in point,
God.
Cathedral Ward is a level, but feels like a hub area because it connects to fucking everything. And where you start the game is in the middle of a loop-de-loop involving torturous experimentation. Just look at the
what the heck was that?
Where you start the game is in the middle of a loop-de-loop involving torturous...
That doesn't even look like it belongs in this world.
Experimentation. Just look at the fucking map of this game. Everything overlaps. And yes, there is a level called Nightmare Lecture Hall, and no, it does not connect to the Altar of Despair, although you would think that. Fittingly, the Lecture Hall is the smallest area, and more fittingly, 90% of the combat is graduates throwing cum at you. The game...
You're graduates. I feel like there are better things to be throwing your cum towards than me.
To the cum zone.
The game also has 2 completely secret areas that you would not find without the internet. I would tell you how to enter, but I don't want to do calculus. And what you get at the end?
Yikes.
Upper Cathedral Ward is legitimately a horror area in a game loved for its combat, because it's filled with enemies who act out my greatest fears. Stealing currency permanently gives me fucking chills every time I talk about it.
That is a horrifying thing to have. Like, that is true horror.
Canehurst is proof that From Software hates us all, since the best area in the entire game requires you to go to the Field of Corn in Ohio and trek down Waldo. But it's worth it to invade the house of that parasitic queen dwelling in her...
Oof.
castle so that she may feel the wrath of the proletariat. All we have to do is kill Prince Philip, who guards the way as an eternal lich. On top of this, there are numerous NPCs and NPC quest lines spread throughout the world, all with a series of interactions with each other depending on location and timing. For instance, you could direct nuns, prostitutes, and Prince Philip to a church run by a lonely black sludge, then perform enough blood transfusions to send the nun into a yandere rage. Or you could direct them to the nice woman who runs the clinic down the street, who only wants to help and assist others. Then take a strange path through the forest and into her clinic to discover that she has been experimenting on all of them in order to create the Blue Man Group. And
so she's the one who did that.
If you want, you can take the umbilical cord away from her schizophrenic ass and eat it. The skies.
I know I've heard about the fact that you eat like umbilical cords and shit, but it's just like seeing that just
Bloodborne questlines. And you know what my favorite questline is? The one where you descend into literal hell, complete with eternal punishment, insanity, and femboy fishing, the scariest of them all. I'm, of course...
femboys...
Eternal punishment, insanity, and femboy fishing, the scariest of them all. I'm, of course, talking about the DLC, the only DLC for this game. And if you play through Bloodborne, you have to play through the DLC. I'm not giving you a fucking choice. So to learn why, you should play the best expansion ever made since Spore Galactic Adventures.
Yeah! Freaking Spore Galactic Adventures.
Oh my god.
Jungles. Come with me on this amazing journey to find the secrets of the Bloodborne, the old hunters. I want you to imagine hell. Now imagine hell written by H.P. Lovecraft. It would be filled with
So hell written by H.P. Lovecraft is just Italy?
Squids, immigrants, and air conditioning. This DLC has no—
Oh, the horror. Speaking of air conditioning, I could really use some right now. It's hot as hell in here.
None of that, except the squids. For you see, those college kids from the lore section of the video were built fucking different. They experimented on an entire village and possibly beat up a god of the sea so fucking bad that her consciousness in the 9th dimension died. We spent an entire game killing an infant, and these guys somehow killed the MILF god. But anyways, in the process of this, it
I was about to say, freaking Marine is here.
cursed them and all of the hunters to be doomed to a hell upon death, where they will hunt in a bloodthirsty rage without rest for all eternity, indistinguishable from a political subreddit. Case in point, this is Ludwig. He's the first boss of the DLC and has a reputation for causing refunds. Not because he's bad, but because he's too good for you. The first phase is as difficult for me as realizing that Golden Corral is not actually a real corral. But like every restaurant except Golden Corral, the rewards at the end are delicious because his second phase is even harder.
Freaking Golden Corral taking a shot, but I actually low-key like Golden Corral. Maybe it's just because my Golden Corral is okay.
Now, I'm not going to lie, this DLC has 4 bosses and 3 of the hardest bosses I have ever fought in any video game ever. So, your ass will be clenched the entire time. The fact that he's the 3rd hardest is fucking concerning. Some people tell me, Max0r, your videos have gotten me through tough times because they made me laugh. But like this boss, you are the one.
I mean, I'm certainly laughing, and I'm enjoying his video.
Your videos have gotten me through tough times because they made me laugh. But like this boss, you are the one who is truly overcoming these challenges. And I believe in your ability to beat both of them, King. Boss Lightning Round. The DLC has many such cases of amazing bosses, including Lady Maria, who is the basis for German's extremely creepy 8-foot-tall doll fetish. But
you're the one who caused German to make that doll.
We'll get back to that. And Orphan of Cause, who was born from the literal dead body of a god. If you enjoy the sensation of being beaten to death with a sharpened placenta, this is the fight for you. And as with everything that From Software makes, they threw in a boss that they didn't really finish and called it a day. I'm of course talking about Lawrence, which is a very mundane name for a fire monster locked in hell. Take my advice, don't fight Lawrence, you only lose a part of yourself.
If I had the means, I probably would try and fight him just because you said not to.
So this boss fights you by dropping off his own legs and then violently vomiting and shitting lava everywhere.
Okay, you know what? Maybe I won't.
I always wanted my game about dynamic dodging and elaborate fencing to be reduced to shitty area denial like it's Team Fortress 2. To wrap things up, the music of this game is pretty good, but the DLC music is fucking insane. I don't know what it is about Japanese composers being able to make better symphonies than the continent that invented them, but just take a listen. Holy shit, I'm alive right now. Have you ever thought, as I...
Yeah? No? They certainly cooked. That's for sure.
That this game is just too good that you would really rather be playing a shittier version of the game, such as the engagement of the Chalice dungeons. I of course jest. They're fine, probably.
Probably.
Of them, because Bloodborne has an optional system of infinite dungeon generation.
Ooh. That sounds interesting.
For all of those who wish to break free of the shackles of good level design, let's talk about how, and more importantly, why. First of all, Bloodborne has a system of dungeons that
Loving the Phoenix Wright music.
Everyone shares, and dungeons that are random. For my footage, I played the shared dungeons that you can be guaranteed.
Oh, ugh, that looks horrifying. It looks like something that would be like chasing you in like in one of those horror games where you can't fight back.
Everyone shares, and dungeons that are random. For my footage, I played the shared dungeons that you can be guaranteed the pain you witness on screen is mandatory. One of the biggest strengths of Bloodborne is the ability to have interesting and challenging enemy encounters gently rubbed with the blood-stained hands of Miyazaki. But I don't think I have to explain to you how randomizing almost every encounter in the game could be imbalanced. But fortunately, most enemies you encounter in the Chalice dungeons are new to spare British people your wrath, so you instead fight SCP-96. But why are we here? It turns out that the entire city of London was built on a Celtic burial ground, an ancient civilization called the Tumerians who discovered the healing powers of blood and then mysteriously disappeared. Wow, I wonder what happened. This is all theory, but the reality is that most of the time you fight the same 4 enemies, and the first 3 dungeons can be replaced by Simon Says. My cat literally wouldn't notice. The Chalice dungeons are so forgotten that the Chalice dungeons are so forgotten that the developers use them to put joke enemies into the game. My favorite is the man who aggressively rolls at you stark naked wearing only his Nikes. The uniqueness also extends to the bosses, and they're actually pretty cool, like Tumerian Descendant, Watchdog, and the 3 overweight men. Do you remember that basic enemy from like 2 levels? He is the boss now. Rom, he is the boss again. The only thing stopping me from throwing myself into a wood chipper is the fact that Mikolash isn't back. And if you're going to have replays, you probably want to make sure that they're actually good. In fact, the bosses are so fucking imbalanced that the Watchdog fight is primarily comprised of instant kill attacks.
What in the world is that? Oh, that looks horrifying. You know, I was gonna say that, like, yeah, no, getting one shot, like, that sounds about right.
Beat Sekiro backwards on a keyboard, and this shit is too fucking much. Now, normally that would be all, but the
What the heck is this?
What the? Now, normally that would be all, but the dungeons go deeper. What we have discussed so far is merely the surface, and there is a much darker syndicate lying just below. These places you must never venture, for they are the save edit dungeons, whereby through wizardry, the community are able to conjure up deep, dark chasms and share them with the rest of the world. Of these secrets, there are only 2 that I shall reveal to you, and the first is the Cum Dungeon.
What a wonderful name, the Cum Dungeon.
Welcome to the
Cum Dungeon. Yes, you heard that correctly and clearly. The Cum Dungeon is the name of the most optimal farming route ever conceived by the fucking cricket people who do this shit, whereby the player enters the chasm of place name and watches as a high-level boss yeets itself off a cliff. Murgo's pig fisting route can give you 10,000 echoes. This gives 83,000.
Okay, maybe the Cum Dungeon isn't that bad.
And if you thought that sorcery was bad, it gets...
Wait, I thought that was just a bit.
1,000 echoes. This gives 83,000. And if you...
A Cum Dungeon offers the fastest XP farming in Bloodborne is crazy.
Was bad, it gets much worse. You can insert anything from the game files by save editing a Chalice dungeon. Anything. This includes cut and unfinished content from the game that the developers forgot to delete.
Oh, that's my favorite. Because that just gives all the players the opportunity to see, to look behind the curtain and see what kind of monstrosities they were cooking up.
Like this doggo who attacks you with invisible lightning. Overall, the Chalice dungeons are bad. They're not actually very fun to play, and yet I love them. Everyone loves them because they allow us to further explore a long-dead game with the help of a passionate community. Now, before we sign off, I know what you're thinking. Max0r, what about the multiplayer? That I would love to talk about with all the footage I have, but it's dead. If this game releases on PC, and it better, then I will talk about the multiplayer extensively. And finally, this game and this video video would not be complete if I didn't talk about the hunter's dream. After all the combat, the battles, and the difficulty of this game, it's nice to have a place to recharge, purchase items, upgrade weapons, and watch as it violently burns to the ground.
Oh my. That's not good.
This is where you'll find German slowly wasting away as his soul remains captive for an eternity, and his doll...
Wait, what did that say?
German slowly wasting away as his soul remains captive for...
I will install Fate Go. No wonder. Oh god, just the fact that you even thought that. You've already resigned yourself to your fate.
For an eternity, and his doll waifu that he sold his existence to be with. She talks to you, levels you up, offers you advice, and German says you're allowed to have sex with her.
Huh?
But why? I don't want to think too deep on this. I think I'm just gonna move on.
When I fell down and felt defeated, she was there to pick me up. When I emoted at her randomly, she pretended to be impressed. And she was there, graciously standing in the background of this one shot that I took of myself. She is our waifu now, and the game is
Bingus, my beloved.
because she is in it. Now excuse me as I engage in the supplementary lore material.
Okay, Max0r. Relax.
Should you get the game? Yes, absolutely. I am biased. In fact, you should physically enter Sony's headquarters and demand that it be ported to PC. I will be right there with you. Tasers will not stop me. I would like to thank the corrupt hackers.
It certainly won't. I will never get over the fact that Sony literally launched a DMCA takedown of the freaking 60 frames per second mod.
And politicians funneling money into this channel directly from the taxpayer. If you would like to contribute your funds accrued through extensive federal government corruption, you can head to my Patreon to learn more. I would also like to thank the kind denizens of the Mythbuster Smut Discord who sent me half the memes in this video. And as always, thank you for watching.
Very cool, very cool. Alright, so that was Max0r's review of Bloodborne. Very enlightening. And I feel like even though he said there would be spoilers, I feel like anything that could have been spoilers didn't exactly get retained. And maybe in some ways that might be for the better, if by some miracle I ever get access to this game again. That being said, I will say his editing is very stimulating for my brain. I like that kind of editing. That's like the type of editing that I aspire for. But I know that I will never be able to do that because I am constrained by free stuff. I am constrained by free software that is kind of limiting on the things that I can do, but I try my best. But yes, very good. I feel like half the time, my brain would just kind of shut down while watching that because just the editing was just overloading my brain. Like my brain was trying so hard to understand what I was seeing that I just go blank for a while before I kind of snap back to reality. Anyways, very enlightening, Max0r. Thank you very much. I suppose, with that being said, I will see you in the next video, whenever that is. But until then, bye-bye.